Hello! I am doing this live from France, so you'll notice I'm not in Bali. It is beautiful here. And I have been thinking about Tinder and our attention spans. So the last couple clients that I talked to, they all had some version of like, I'm going on lots of first dates, but I can't seem to find a partner. And I probed into it and I was like, they're doing a lot on Tinder and they're swiping left, swiping right, texting people, doing first dates, but there's no meat in it. So maybe you know this spot. And I think the problem is that Tinder helps us see people as disposable. It's like, if this one doesn't work out, there's 1,000 others, and I don't have to invest very much. Is like, have you heard the term FOMO, fear of missing out? It's like that for your dating life. You're like, oh, well, this first date didn't go well, I'll line up 6 more for the week. And I know a lot of people have that strategy, and it makes sense because, like, if you look at the modern world, our attention span is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. I look at my little brother who's 15, and he can only watch a show for like 10 minutes, and he gets bored. And I think that we're doing that in our dating lives, where it's like, we'll look at someone and be like, oh, you're maybe interesting, but there's probably someone better. There's probably someone hotter, more successful. And what that means, though, is what I'm seeing is there's a lack of deep, meaningful connection. So I'm seeing a lot of people that I'm coaching that have surface-level interactions, surface-level connections, a few first dates, but they don't have the skill or the attention span for deep, meaningful connection. And what I'm seeing is a lot of loneliness, honestly. Like, The Atlantic just ran an article a few months ago, and it talked about how millennials, we're in a sex recession. Millennials apparently have less sex than any generation before us, which I was like, that is fascinating. And I think the big reason is because sex requires connection, which requires our ability to keep our attention on someone. And with Tinder and technology, and I have some friends working on porn addiction, I don't know much about it, but they tell me it decreases your attention span even more. With all that, it's like it's hard to keep our attention on someone long enough to form a deep, meaningful interaction. And I think that even though we have more options than ever before, what I'm seeing is more loneliness than ever before. So that's what I just want to jump on here. And I want to hear from you too. If you're watching, like, can you relate? Have you seen this? I know we're constantly on social media, but building a relationship is a different skill. And so what is the antidote? I would say, and I'm going to do a little tangent, but things only become interesting when we put attention on them. So take, for example, this tree behind me. I think it's an olive tree. I don't know. I've never really put any attention on a tree before. But if I were a botanist and I had spent years studying trees, I might be able to be fascinated by that tree and tell you how tall it is, how old it is, what kind of seasons it's been through. And they're probably fascinated by the tree because they've put their attention on learning trees. And we can do the same thing with people. So instead of being like, oh, here's a person, swipe left, swipe right, we can take our attention and put them on the people around us and be like, how do I find all of the fascinating, intricate, beautiful complexities of this person? Like, how do I use my attention in order to find out all those little things about them, like the first thing they think about when they wake up, how they like their tea, the way that they laugh when they're actually happy and not faking it. Like, all those little things are what makes someone interesting. And we're fascinated by these when we're falling in love. But my challenge to you is, like, be fascinated even if you don't yet feel like you're falling in love. With everyone. Like, not just your first dates, with your family, with your friends. Because I think oftentimes we look at love as something that we have to find outside of ourselves. Like, oh, if only I find the right person on Tinder, if only I find the right one. And I'm like, no, love is a skill that we cultivate by honing our ability to put attention on people. I'm going to just let that settle. And like there was this study and it said arranged marriages are more happier than love marriages. I don't know if that's true, but my hypothesis is, like, if you know you're committed to this person, you take the time to put attention and learn them. Maybe. So that's my antidote. In summary, I think Tinder kind of creates this mindset where it's like people are disposable, where we don't have to invest anything in order to build relationships. And my challenge to you is see if you can use your attention to find out little details about the people around you and fall in love with everyone. So that is my challenge. I would love to hear from you below, like what resonates, what doesn't. Have you noticed your attention span feeling shorter, whether you're on Tinder or not, just like kind of that FOMO when you're dating? You're like, oh, this person's nice, but maybe there's someone better. And how do you overcome that voices, those things in your head? All right. Have a great rest of your day.